The one thing I tell people is constantly be getting that education, but then once you have it, you got to implement it. You got to put it in
Love it.
play. Because if you don't put it in play, you're just a chronic learner.
Hey, thanks for joining this week's video. We're doing the Meet the Team video series, if you want to call it that. My name is Kevin Amos. I'm the founder of Pine Financial. If you're coming across this video, be sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification buttons. We're really trying to build a community here to help more real estate investors just like you. Today, we're going to meet Pine Financial's one and only Minnesota head of operations. Is that what we call it? Sean, you are the man. I'm excited to do this little interview with you. There's a lot of people that maybe don't know you or know who you are, or maybe there's parts about you that they don't know. And I thought this would be kind of fun just to share with the viewers here who is Sean Blomquist. So why don't you tell us who you are?
Okay. Well, like Kevin said, I'm Sean Blomquist. I'm the head of our Minnesota operations, and I was actually born and raised in Minnesota. I grew up in northern Minnesota, moved down to the Twin Cities it was probably like roughly 1998, somewhere in there. So I've been in the Twin Cities metro now for the last 23 years. Seems like a long time, doesn't it? And in that span of time, I've actually lived in numerous parts of the metro area. So I'm very comfortable with most of the area and know it pretty well. Now I currently live in the North Metro with my wife and two kids, and just plugging away, trying to help everybody out with their deals.
So you're up there in Blaine and wife, two kids. How old are your kids?
I have a son that's 11 and a daughter that's 14 going on 21.
And I know outside of work, I know you put a lot of time in, but outside of that, I know you enjoy softball. What else do you like to do?
Yeah, I play sports once in a while with friends, and we like to travel as a family. We try and travel as much as possible, take advantage of being able to do that and let our kids experience as much as there is out there as possible versus just buying them things. We try and take them places and show them things, and like to spend a lot of time outdoors. We camp a lot in the summer and try and spend as much time together as a family doing things just to take advantage of it while they're still young and want to do it with us. So.
And professionally, you're originating a ton of loans. You're helping a ton of clients make money in this business. So what made you decide to join the Pine team?
Well, I grew up in construction. I had a father who was an architect, and I grew up working around with trades and things like that. And I've always had an interest in real estate and wanted to essentially get out of the 9-to-5 rat race and get into a profession where I could advance my career based on how I performed versus how somebody thought I performed. And it seemed a good fit for me. I have a finance background as well. So the construction and finance part of it really blended well with what we do here at Pine. So it seemed like a good transition. And I'm glad I made the leap to do this as a full-time profession now. And I would never look back.
Yeah, us too. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
I get questioned all the time. You probably get questions similar to this, but all the time. So you're in Colorado, but you do a ton of business in Minnesota. So what made you decide to go to Minnesota? Why do you think we came out to Minnesota?
What I tell people is it's a very similar market to Denver, demographically and size-wise, very similar to Colorado. You guys have the mountains and we have lakes. The big difference now is your market is exploding to the point of values that I can't even understand right now. We're moving that direction, but we're certainly not to where you guys are at right now.
Yeah, I always tell people the truth. So my former wife and your current wife were sisters. So it was a family thing. And so I don't know, what are we, ex-brother-in-law or something? But yeah, I just tell people it's family. And
I still say you're my brother-in-law. So it's the same thing to me. But yeah, we've known each other now for 16 years or so.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yep.
Lots of trips together, lots of good times.
Yep.
So back to the Pine, you joined Pine. When was that, and how has it been going making loans to real estate investors?
So I joined in 2012. I started out inspecting properties for you guys when you first were getting on the ground here and doing your first few deals. I was the connection here to go look at the properties, make sure that things were moving along as they were supposed to be, and make sure that people were doing the work that they said they were doing and it was being done right. Just started out in that aspect because I still had a full-time job otherwise, but then decided to quit my other job and move into this full time in 2013 to originate loans. And it takes a little bit at first to get the ball rolling and understand how it all works and wrap a mind around it. But boy, now that we're going, it's been 8 years now since I started originating loans, and I have fun doing it every day. I love working with people. I'm a very handy person, so I like working on houses and things like that. So to see other people doing it and transforming these properties, I get kind of a rush out of it. I like seeing these things transformed, and I like seeing people, make money and advance their careers and make that leap that I made when I got out of the rat race and started doing real estate full time.
When you were just starting with Pine, I remember, just barely dipping your toe into the water as a real estate investor. And then obviously you migrated really to the finance side and you thrive there and you really enjoy helping your clients be successful and all of that. But you do have some experience as an investor yourself, fixing and flipping. I know you've owned a rental property for a handful of years. And as far as investing personally, anything you're working on now, anything you want to share with the viewer?
No, not currently that I'm working on. I kind of ask myself once in a while why I'm not grabbing onto rental properties. I know you and Travis are both in my ear constantly about grabbing onto rental properties, and I haven't done it. I probably should get back into owning some. Right now might not be the best time for me to do that, but it's certainly in the back of my mind to take advantage of the next little dip we have here, because I'm sure it's going to happen at some point. Who knows when, but when it does happen, I'll certainly be ready and I'll have the background to take full advantage of it.
And something you and I have in common, which, I think a lot of our viewers probably share, is we're a little bit more on the frugal side and we like to invest our money for passive returns or long-term plays where there might be some appreciation or something like that. And I know you've had a ton of success with that, paying off debt, building assets, maybe not so much in the real estate world as you just described, but successful people like you, Sean, usually have some type of routine, whether that's a morning routine or weekly routine, monthly, something like that. Do you have any routines that you want to share with the viewer that has helped you with your success?
Yeah, I do have a daily routine. It obviously involves getting up and getting the kids ready for school and things like that. But then once the kids are off to school, I usually work out in the morning. And then after I take a shower, I sit down. And the first thing I do is I go through my list of clients and I try to get to roughly 10 clients per day that I haven't talked to in a while and just reach out to them, see how they're doing, see if they got anything coming up, if there's anything we can help them with, just to try and stay top of mind to help them out if they need something. Then once I do that, then it's on to whatever deals I have currently going, just to make sure that things are progressing and we're working towards closing, and obviously catching up on a million emails that come through daily and fielding calls and everything like that. But yeah, that morning routine, once I get that, it kind of gets the ball rolling once I've done those things. But I do notice if I skip a day from working out or something like that, it kind of throws you off and you feel like you're lost for a second. You got to kind of get your bearings of where you're at. But then once you get to it, you're going. But yeah, that daily routine, it's a good start to get you going in the same direction every day to the same goal. So.
Yeah, I just had the meeting with Coop, as you know, and he has something very similar to say. So I think that's really common with successful people. So I want to ask you real quick before we wrap up the call about a couple more questions here, but one is any advice that you would give to the viewer? I know you have a ton of real estate investor clients. A ton of them are out there fixing and flipping. They're making money. What advice would you give to our viewers?
Boy, the biggest piece of advice I would give, and I've said this numerous times to people, you obviously know that we teach classes on a regular basis. Pre-COVID, we could do it in person. Now we try and do it weekly with the lunch and learns. But the one thing I tell people is constantly be getting that education, but then once you have it, you got to implement it. You got to put it in play.
Love it.
Because if you don't put it in play, you're just a chronic learner. You go around kicking tires, asking the same questions over and over. If you don't put it into play, what are you wasting your time for? To be honest, put it in play. Make money for you, So I guess that's the biggest thing. Is just get off the fence and don't be scared. It's scary taking that leap, but you can probably ask every investor out there, are they glad they made the leap? And a majority are going to say, for sure they are glad they made that leap, because they wouldn't want to look back now. So
what great advice. Gosh darn, you guys, if you make a mistake, that's fine. In fact, you're going to, right? So don't be afraid of it. It's going to happen. You already know that. What makes you successful, I guess, is learning from that mistake, but you got to go out there and make it to learn from it. So that's fantastic advice, Sean, and something that, I really want to help our clients with as well. So I'm glad you said that. If you're watching the video and you need any help taking that action as Sean described, give him a call or give me a call. let's see if we could help you get the comfort that you need to go ahead and make that move. So Sean, is there anything about you that maybe most people don't know about, or if they didn't watch the video, they would never know that you're comfortable sharing with us?
Uh, I don't know. As a side hobby, I like woodworking. That's kind of like my outlet for stress. Is I go out, I've got a shop out in my garage. I go out there, and even if I'm not in the middle of making something, I just kind of putz around out there, and it helps decompress a little bit, and then go back to what's going on with life. So that's kind of my one outlet, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I remember that was something that you and Travis shared for a little while. He was getting
Mm-hmm.
into that as well.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's close it up. Any final thoughts, anything final you want to share with the viewer before we wrap this up?
No, just kind of what we were talking about with the mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. If that's your biggest fear of doing this is making a mistake, don't be scared of it. Like Kevin said, you're going to make a mistake. There's pretty much no way around it. You can ask every successful investor, have they ever gotten into a deal and lost money? Or have they ever got into something and something surprised them? And I can guarantee they do. They've probably had a deal that went completely sideways and they lost money, or they got into it with all the preparation they could possibly do. There was still something that popped up they weren't sure of. So don't be scared of that, and just put that education to work, and let's make some money together.
Sounds good. How do people reach you?
They can reach me at www.pinefinancialgroup.com, or you can email me directly, Sean, SEAN, at pinefinancialgroup.com.
Hit like, hit subscribe. Check us out, pinefinancialgroup.com.